Well, good evening. It's another episode of Spencer Uncensored. This is Spencer Combs, and this is episode 97. 97. Yeah, we're swiftly approaching 100. I'm going to tell you what, me and some of this Facebook stuff gets on my nerves. This is supposed to be streaming to Facebook too, and for whatever reason, it's not happening. So I apologize for those of you that are over in Facebook world. That's what, let me just put some gibberish in here and we'll get things going tonight. Well, while you guys are getting rolling in here, by the way, drop it in the chat. Let me know that you're here. Let's see. I'm just going to put nonsense in there so we can. Oh. Well, while I wait for some of you guys to show up, let me says we're streaming. I'm going to go view real quick. If you guys are over there, yeah, sure enough, I am streaming. And you guys are here the whole time and I don't even know it. I apologize for that. All right, let's get moving. This has been ridiculous. This technology stuff. I've been battling this for probably about a month. Although I just watched Russell Brunson, who owns an entire SaaS company, for a good 40 minutes fight with Zoom. So that made me feel a little better. So anyway, we're going to press on. We're about 3 minutes into this one instead of 40 minutes. So that's a good thing, I guess. Guys, tonight, before I get into what the conversation du jour, I will point out just a couple of things. One, I'm excited. Of course, this is Thanksgiving week. So those of us in the United States, it's Thanksgiving week. We've got holidays coming up. We've got food, probably family, things of that nature. So if you're involved in any of that kind of fun, I trust you have a good week this week. There's been discussion, of course. I don't know how long do you guys think Thanksgiving is going to stay a holiday in the U.S.? I don't know. I just got this weird feeling. I don't know if that makes sense to you. But colonialism and all this kind of stuff, might be a real topic of some sort, but I don't think it takes away from the actual meaning of the holiday. As a reminder, by the way, the meaning is something you get to choose. And so most of us that are, having the holiday, it's a holiday of gratitude. It's a holiday of resetting and pay attention to the things you have versus the things you don't have. That way, when Christmas comes around, you can worry about all the things you don't have and what you need to be doing for everyone else. Anyway, all right, let me not get off track there, but that's this week. So happy Thanksgiving to those of you that are celebrating. And I am grateful for so many different things, especially those of you that are on here and pay attention to what we're doing as we continue to grow. If you are not on the daily dose, I'm telling you, if you're not on the daily dose, you need to get on the daily dose. 5 days a week, I get on there and send you guys a text message with a quick headline, and then I send you an email straight to your inbox. Doesn't take more than 2 minutes for you to boost your momentum and build mastery. That's what we're doing every day. It's like taking a vitamin in the morning and making sure that your business and your life stays unshakable. That's what we're doing. And so I've got nothing but positive reviews so far. I've had 2 people opt out. Yeah, 2. 2 out of the entire crowd. So that's okay. Some people just can't handle some of the things I have to say are not always the most warm and fuzzy. they are intended to be a little introspective. So I am grateful for those that are still on it. But if you want to be a part of that whole thing, just go to unshakablesecrets.com. I got it here on the screen. You can also hit the right over there is the QR code. So you can go there. It's basically going to take you to unshakablesecrets.com. Go ahead and sign up. Get on the daily dose. It's a good thing to do. And tell your friends, by the way. So I'm grateful for those. One more announcement real quick before I get down in the meat of this thing. I've got the Unshakable Business Intensive. The only people that knew about this Unshakable Business Intensive are those that are actually in the daily dose and those that are in my group, my Unshakable Circle. And I might have lost my mind in the process, but essentially what I've done is made it a ethical bribe for those of you that want to take a trip to Jacksonville, Florida, and be with me live in the room December the 6th. That's Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday as of the time of this recording. If you're interested in that, let me know. But basically, we're going to spend 6 hours together in a room, masterminding with each other and going over the 5 areas of your business. If you're not familiar with the 5 areas of business, we talk about it in Momentum and Mastery. So we're going to break that down. We're going to have a lot of conversations around it. We're going to help make sure that you walk out with a very strategic plan and also be able to first identify all the holes and how to actually deal with those holes. So that's what we're going to be doing. It's an intensive. It's not slow. It is fast-paced and very intense. It's designed that way so that we're not taking 7 weeks to do it. We're going to do it in 6 hours. So that's coming up also. All right. Let me get down to this real quick because, Spencer Uncensored is usually not, but about 15, 20 minutes at the max. Earlier today, I was reading a book and there was a quote that was thrown out. It was just thrown out in the middle of the book while I was reading. And I thought, hold on, because this is audible. So I was like, I had to rewind. Let me make sure I heard this right. And first of all, before I get into the actual quote, I wanted you to think about for just a minute, what would you consider magical in your life? Like, what would be something that would be magical? Maybe you're wishing for it, right? I think a lot of times people do wake up with a wish level of commitment. We talk about that in the book, right? But there's a wish level where basically people just have an interest, but they're not necessarily showing up for it. They just think, well, it'd be nice, right? Oh, that would be nice. What's some of the things that you think are magical, would be magical results for you? Think about that for a second. The reason I'm mentioning it is because I think we drift in a lot of areas of our life, right? It would be nice. It would be magical if I could just wake up tomorrow morning and I'm healthier. It would be so magical if my spouse was different. It would be so magical if my income tripled and within the week, right? It would be so magical. All these magical things that we like to talk about. We wish for. There's a lot of wishing going on. Well, here's the quote. The magic only happens when you become the magician. Now, I heard this was in a book by Dave Lakhani, who, by the way, is, if I rewind my life story, 20 years or more, a little over, right at 20 years, actually. Yeah, right at 20 years. I was dealing with a divorce. I was relaunching business. That was the time of my life when I was insatiable about getting information. And Dave is one of these guys that way back then was on the forefront, some of the internet type stuff and sales training. He's very good. But the big thing what I initially got attracted to was his conversations around influence and religion. Because if you don't know my story, I went to Bible college, and that particular school I went to, make no bones about it. It wasn't really an educational school. It was an indoctrination school. And so I was learning. Dave had come out of an actual cult, and whether or not you would label what I was in a cult or not, that's up to you. But I don't think it was necessarily extreme cult, but it was definitely a culture, right? And so I was attracted to his stuff because of his deep knowledge of influence and how people operate and what they think, and he took that into sales to help other people grow their business and so on. Fast forward 20 years, I'm picking up a book, reading it, listening to it on Audible, and he says that statement comes in there. He says, the magic happens when the magician shows up. And I was like, damn, that's good, because it's so true, right? If whatever it is that we're really wanting to have on the other side is not going to really ever just happen to you, right? If you've ever looked at the success cycle before, you understand that actions are going to create the results. So something has to happen, and the actions don't happen without the emotions, and the emotions don't happen without the thinking, right? Well, who you have to become, if you want to see magic happen, you're going to have to step up and become a magician. You want to be healthier? Then maybe you should start labeling yourself as an athlete, right? Or you want to have a better relationship? Label yourself and give yourself an identity that creates that kind of result. You want to be an ultra wealthy entrepreneur? Then maybe you need to show up as that entrepreneur. I, not very long ago, had a conversation with one of my clients. I said, what would a $50 million agency owner do? By the way, this is somebody who's at 25 million. So it's not like, he's thinking small all the time. He's already thinking big. His business is bigger than the average. But we were making this big leap, and we've already seen 200,000 just in 5 months working with this individual. And how do you go to 50 million? Well, you start asking yourself, what would a $50 million agency owner do? Like, how would they act? You want that kind of magic? You want those kind of results? You got to be the magician. Just something to think about tonight. How do you become the magician? I don't know. I just wrote down a couple things here. Number one, you got to learn the skills, right? It's one thing to take on the identity. I could sit here and say, I'm a tree all night, but I'll never become a tree because I'm a human being. But if I said I'm an athlete, or I'm a high-level CEO, what are the skills that person has? What are the skills that I don't have that they do? Learn those skills. Get into rooms where those people are. Learn the marketing. Learn negotiation. Learn tax codes, for crying out loud. And if you're not going to learn that stuff, you need to get around the people that do, right? But the point is that if I'm going to have that kind of magic, I've got to become the magician. Learn the skills. 2, practice. At some point, you could learn the skills all day long, but until you actually go and take the action, we're never getting anywhere. You've got to, if you were going to practice with a deck of cards and do some magic, you're going to have to do it over and over and over and over again until you get it. And then when you got it, then you have to do it over and over and over again until you can't get it wrong. You got to practice. Too many people give themselves the label. They're walking around with a damn business card saying, I'm the CEO, I'm the owner, I'm the founder, whatever the term is, but they don't actually go out and practice anything that they've learned. Okay, well, maybe they practice it indoors or behind doors or behind, by themselves. Then the next big thing the next step in the process is you have to find an audience to entertain. If you want to be able to perform magic and get paid for it, monetize it, then you're going to have to find an audience. So some people are some of the best kept secrets, right? They have their business, they do their thing, but they just, they've hung their shingle, whatever they call it, right? And they're They got that license. They got the business card. They got their like real estate agents with their signs. They got all the stuff. They're going to all the classes, but they're not finding an audience. If you're not finding an audience, you're not going to find any magic, period. You're not going to be able to perform that magic because the only person that's going to see that magic is you. My coach says, you don't need more money. You need more people because the people have the money. Shout out to Coach Bird on that one. Well, once you start getting in front of audiences, the last thing I got written down here is you got to start working on getting on a bigger stage. You need to get on a bigger stage. Maybe you're already performing, but you're still doing little magic shows in with 5 or 6 people. It might be time for you now to step it up a notch. You want bigger magic? You're going to have to challenge yourself to do bigger shows. Wouldn't you have to, if you were a magician, wouldn't you have to learn how to do better, bigger magic if you're going to do a bigger room? Absolutely. If I've done nothing else for you tonight, I trust that I have at least encouraged you to stop thinking that magic is just going to happen to you. I want you to step into control, step into your power. That's the 3rd step in the mastery cycle. I want you to own your resources. Step into it and become the magician. Become the person that can create the magic. So, that's all I got for tonight. Remember, if you haven't gotten onto the daily dose, it's written on right here on the screen, unshakablesecrets.com. I would love to have you. It's 5 days a week, right in your inbox, 2 minutes. Boost your momentum. Build your mastery. Defy the odds. I know it's uncensored, but I decided to hold off myself on that one. Maybe one night we talk about verbal patterns. I had a good conversation with Jenna Creel up in Tennessee about that last week when I was up there. We were talking about verbal patterns and how to use them to get what you want. For instance, anyway, guys, you guys have been very quiet tonight. If you need something from me, feel free to reach out anytime. I appreciate you being here. And make sure you share the show, especially if you got something